After dedicating my life to wisdom at the age of 13, I thought that in order to find wisdom, I needed to somehow escape my body, because my body was the source of all my pain. It felt so filled with fear and emotion and anger and sadness. It looked like a body that I didn't want. How many times have we looked in the mirror and resented something, wanting it to be some other way? And I didn't want my scars, and I didn't want this and that and the other. All that the usual thing, really. I thought that to find wisdom, I needed to somehow put the body aside. And yet, as the years of studying and meditation and learning and experimenting and failing and figuring out how not to do this, figuring out what didn't work, you bump your head on the wall and you go, oh, that's not the way. I walked into many metaphorical walls, yes, to realize, surprise, the body is so helpful. I noticed that my most accurate, intuitive insights could be felt. There was a felt sense in the body. I noticed that when I was betraying myself in some way, saying yes when I actually wanted to say no, saying no when I actually wanted to say yes, I could feel it too. You can too, right? You know the feeling of contraction, heaviness, an uncomfortable feeling in the body when you're not speaking for your truth, acting on behalf of your truth, of deep truth, of wisdom, of what we know as wisdom within. And then when we are aligned with wisdom, when there is clear seeing and being, and thoughts reflect that, and actions reflect that, there is relief, there is an opening. So I started noticing, and I noticed that when I put my attention in the body and included the felt sense of the body, that this helped me to listen more deeply for my inner teacher. And it also helped me to discern the difference between thoughts that rose from ego and the surface mind versus thoughts that arose as translations of deep, clear wisdom. Without that felt sense, I'd be left with two sets of words and wasn't sure which were the words that were coming from the surface and which were the words representing deeper wisdom and truth. This felt sense, which is amplified in the body, can be really, really helpful. And it turns out it's a wonderful aid to meditation, mindfulness, and master coaching practice. After many, many years of teaching what I now call ABCs, simply to remind us attention in the body, in the center, and hang out there, right? Share from that, listen there. I discovered that there is even a name called somatic sensing, somatic awareness. And somatic, the root word means of the body. It's very simply about paying attention to sensation, to the felt sense of the body. To listen deeply for your inner teacher, for inner guidance, for clear seeing, for intuitive aha insights. To meditate deeply, to practice mindfulness, to deepen your mindfulness practice, and as a very necessary master coaching technique, practice your ABCs, which is very simply notice where attention is. Attention is a key to so much. Over the decades, I've come to understand that it really is all about where is our attention. Attention's not a sense. It's not seeing, hearing, touching, tasting, smelling, because you can move attention between the senses. Try it. You'll see you can. You can decide, set an intention to send attention to listening, and suddenly listening is more focused on and more acute, and there's more information available there. You can send attention to looking and seeing a color or a shape, and now that information's available. You can send attention to your left knee or to your right foot and do a body scan, and that moving of attention, you'll notice that attention brings things to life. It pushes play on the sacred library of the universe. It's like the library card for the books of knowledge of the whole universe. Wherever our attention is, that's what we're tuned into. And there's something about consciously moving attention that's already helpful. Developing a habit and a skill of consciously moving attention, which is extremely helpful and at the core of most meditation training. It's also part of mindfulness, true? When we're mindful, we're placing attention mindfully, noticing the witnessing position as we place conscious attention on our thoughts and feelings and on life. And to be master coaches, if we want to coach at depth, we also want to consciously place attention and help our clients to send the ambassador of attention, which is the bucket, down into their wisdom well. Attention is how we harvest knowledge from the universe of knowledge. Attention is linked to intuition. It's free of the body. Attention is not confined to space-time. Attention is so valuable and so important. Paying attention to attention and then sending it into the body so that you are now tuned in to the helpful somatic sensing of the body. There's something about doing that helps us to hand the microphone, or to, let's say, to take the microphone away from the surface egoic, personal, localized mind to the deeper wisdom of the gut heart, which helps us to send that bucket down. When we listen with our ABCs, instead of having attention above our shoulders in the mind, the moment we listen to someone but practice our ABCs, listening deepens automatically. Like, Cole, why didn't you tell us that from the start? Yes. For decades, my student master coaches and my meditation students tell me how they hear me teach this, but it's only when they do this work and they realize how simple and profound it is that they get it. Cole, I did my ABCs, and it's like suddenly I was listening instead of hearing, like surface. You focus better. You gain natural empathy. Your intuition increases. Just the simple act of doing your ABCs. When you meditate to listen to your inner teacher, after you've dug your well and built your bucket, asked your question, let your raw and real humanness show up to include that, send your bucket down, open to wisdom, and use your ABCs to help you to tune into wisdom. And then, if you are moved to speak for wisdom, do your ABCs and speak. In fact, use your ABCs when you're chatting to a friend, when you're talking as part of your job or your work. You'll notice that when you use your ABCs, it's very difficult to be anything but authentic, anything but super present and real. And you'll intuitively be in the zone, knowing what to say, knowing what to ask. It'll help enormously. Use your ABCs to listen, to speak, and also to be a presence. Sometimes we are moved to be quiet, and ABCs will help deepen that as well. Build your wisdom wells for yourself as a mindful meditation practice, and for others as a master coach, somebody who's here to guide, to hold spaces, to be present for others.